going to explain the movie The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, released in the year 2009. An old man named Doctor Parnassus owns a beat-up traveling theater. The doctor, his daughter Valentina, and entertainers Anton and Percy are the performers of the theater. One night, they're in front of a pub in London when a drunk thug bothers them. He kicks Percy off the stage and starts flirting with Valentina, disregarding her repeated refusal. While trying to get away from the man, Valentina walks into a plastic mirror that leads her to a different world called the Imaginarium. The man notices that he's in a strange place but doesn't stop following her. When Valentina is deep inside the strange world, she tricks the thug and punches him in the face. Then, without giving him an opportunity to follow her, she runs back to the theater. Meanwhile, the man is stuck inside the mirror. A hand hangs from the sky and grabs the man. He's then taken to a mystical space filled with jellyfish. When high enough, the hand sets him free, dropping him on a strange planet. Following that, he's given two choices: either climb up a flight of tall stairs and gain ultimate happiness, or enter a nearby pub and get a drink. He chooses the latter, but as he walks in, the pub blows up in a loud explosion, causing his immediate death. It turns out that the first option was set by Dr. Parnassus, and the second one was set by the devil called Mr. Nick. The two have a millennium-long rivalry going on, and often compete with each other. Dr. Parnassus only wins when someone chooses the option that he sets. But that rarely happens since all humans prefer ignorance over hard work. Dr. Parnassus feels the explosion even outside and almost falls down. A while later, the police come to the theater to inquire about the missing man. But since the mirror only works when Dr. Parnassus is meditating, they're unable to find him. After the incident, Dr. Parnassus takes his theater somewhere else in a carnival. As the group performs, a naughty kid enters the mirror without telling anyone. Fortunately for him, Valentina sees him entering and sends Anton to get him out. The inside of the strange world has changed entirely since the last time. The kid is playing with the bubbles in the now mesmerizing world while his parents are worried for him outside. Dr. Parnassus uses his magic and puts the kid in front of his parents in an instant. Following that, the doctor is visited by the devil, Mr. Nick. According to their agreement, Valentina will belong to Mr. Nick after she turns 16, and Dr. Parnassus can do nothing to stop him from taking her. Her 16th birthday is only a week away, which makes Dr. Parnassus nervous. Later that day, he gets drunk and tells her about the time when he used to be a monk in a faraway place. He used to teach his pupils the way to live life for others. But one day, Mr. Nick came to his sanctuary and challenged him to prove his way of self-endurance and hard work is better than ignorance. After a long and hard fight, Dr. Parnassus won the challenge and was given the gift of immortality. However, he was naive enough to think Mr. Nick had accepted defeat. In fact, the immortality gift was his way to trap Dr. Parnassus in the everlasting loop of competition and failure. The doctor stops telling the story when their vehicle stops. Anton says he saw the reflection of a dancing man on the water. On taking a closer look, they learn that someone is hanging under the bridge. The group saves the person and realize he survived only because of a tube inserted into his throat. The next morning, the man wakes up but only remembers that his name is Tony. The others decide to give him shelter until he gets better. That evening, Tony dresses up to perform with the group. He and Valentina start a friendship, much to Anton's annoyance because he has been in love with Valentina his whole life. They start the next theater show, but Dr. Parnassus is too drunk to keep going. He returns to the back and is taken care of. Mr. Nick visits him again to remind him that he doesn't have much time left with his daughter. He allows him the last chance to save his daughter with another bet. If Dr. Parnassus manages to get 5 souls to follow his path in the Imaginarium, he wins. But if Mr. Nick does it earlier, he will be the victor. In a desperate attempt to save Valentina, Dr. Parnassus accepts the bet. He knows it'll be difficult, but he also believes that Tony has been sent for their help by the higher energy. That night, they start the theater show with the new motivation. Dr. Parnassus hopes to get as many customers as possible so he can win the bet. However, things go downhill when Anton forcefully carries a girl into the Imaginarium. The theater is attacked by the girl's friends. Percy quickly starts the vehicle and drives it away. Tony is almost caught, but he gets on the trunk of the driving vehicle and escapes with it. The woman who is sent inside the Imaginarium holds Mr. Nick's hand, which means he has one up on the Doctor now. After the chaos ends, the Doctor tells Valentina of her mother, who is also his first love. Long ago, the gift of immortal life proved to be a curse for the Doctor. He was in the streets begging for food and living a miserable life. That is, until the day he saw a beautiful girl pass by and instantly fell in love with her. She was in her 20s and was sure to never look at an old man like him. Hence, the devil made yet another bet with him. Dr. Parnassus fell right into his trap and accepted the proposal, but at the cost of his daughter's life when she turned 16. His wish to make the woman his wife was granted, and Valentina was born. Sometime later, her mother died of some disease, and now even Valentina is about to be taken away. In the following scene, Anton suggests they renovate the theater to attract more customers. By that night, they turn it into a modern-themed magic show. Anton's unusual charm helps them attract several women to the theater. He takes the first one inside the mirror, which is also his first trip to the Imaginarium. Emerging from the woman's dreams, the Imaginarium turns into a pool of fancy shoes, perfume, diamonds, and pearls. When it is time to choose between the two options, Tony convinces her to follow Dr. Parnassus's path. When the woman returns to the real world, she is over the moon. She signs a blank check to the Doctor and boasts about how good of a time she had in the wonderful place. Because of her influence, other customers argue about wanting to go first. Eventually, Dr. Parnassus manages to gain 4 souls in a single night, breaking his own record. Mr. Nick is watching him from the sidelines, waiting to ruin his preparations. At the same time, Tony sees a group of men in front of the theater who he recognizes. It's clear that he's been lying about his amnesia, but no one knows why. The men also notice him trying to hide his face and attack him. In an attempt to save himself, Tony runs into the Imaginarium while being followed by the men. We soon find out that they are the people from the Russian mafia whose money Tony didn't return. They were also the ones who hung Tony from the bridge the last time. Anton comes to Tony's rescue and tries to intimidate the gangsters, but he is, in turn, punched in the face. All of a sudden, Dr. Parnassus's head emerges from the ground and asks the Russian men to choose his path. But at the same time, Mr. Nick appears on the other side of the Imaginarium, disguised as a giant woman. He manages to lure the selfish men into his skirt and burns them. With 4 more souls added to his collection, he wins the bet. Somewhere else, Anton urges Tony to reveal who he actually is and who the Russian people were. Tony claims that he was scammed by the Russians who sold children's organs to people for money. He seems genuinely regretful to have unknowingly been involved in something so horrendous. Hence, Anton believes him. Dr. Parnassus tells Valentina the truth about the devil and his bet to take her away when she turns 16. She is furious at her father for hiding the truth for all these years. At the same time, Anton happens to get his hand on a newspaper that reports the actual news about Tony. According to the report, the Russians were not the ones who tricked Tony, but he was actively involved in the smuggling of organs. He runs to Valentina to tell her the truth, but Tony doesn't let him. He pushes Valentina into the Imaginarium and goes after her, leaving the real world behind. To keep her entertained, he takes her out on a boat and manipulates her into thinking she's living her dream. A naive Valentina trusts him and gets a little too close to him on the boat. After that, they create a reality of their own, where Tony is a wealthy businessman known for his charitable deeds, while Valentina is his wife. Their reality is interrupted when Anton takes the form of a kid and shows Tony's real face to Valentina. It is revealed that he sold the organs of kids from third world countries to wealthy people. Tony panics and shows his true personality by slapping Valentina in the face. His dream starts to break as the people see him for the evil man he is. They chase behind him, wanting to end his life. As the reality breaks, poor Anton falls off it. Valentina tries her best to save him, but he confesses his love for her before dropping into the unknown. Valentina loses her mind and runs around the remains of the place. She's also given 2 options, the good and the bad one. Suddenly, Mr. Nick appears and refrains her from choosing. Valentina tries to seduce him, giving in to the temptation. But Mr. Nick cannot accept her as a pawn because she's supposed to be the prize of the bet. He then goes to Dr. Parnassus, giving him the final chance to get his little girl back. A desperate doctor is ready to do anything. Taking the opportunity, the devil asks him to kill Tony. Parnassus goes to Tony, who is still being chased by the haters. If they catch him, they're sure to hang him. To save himself again, he needs the metal pipe. The doctor presents him with 2 metal pipes, one of which will break and thus will kill him. To trick him into using the fake one, the doctor uses one of the pipes and hangs himself, which makes Tony believe he's using the real one. The criminal steals it before being caught by the people. They hang him from the tree, but at the last second, Dr. Parnassus reveals he had 2 pipes in his throat, and the one Anton took is fake. In the end, he dies in the incident, making Dr. Parnassus win the final bet. Mr. Nick has released Valentina after his loss, but to torment the doctor, he refuses to reveal her whereabouts. Dr. Parnassus wanders around in the Imaginarium, hoping to find his lost daughter someday. Several years later, he has turned into a beggar in London. A kind woman puts some pennies into his begging bowl without even seeing his face. As she walks away, Dr. Parnassus notices an anklet on her leg that he had given to Valentina a long time ago. He follows his daughter to a restaurant and finds her with Anton. The two have evolved into a happily married couple with a beautiful little daughter. Right then, Percy approaches him and asks him to meet his family. However, Dr. Parnassus only smiles at the comment. He is content that his daughter is living a happy life and feels at peace for the first time in years. In the last scene, we see Percy and Dr. Parnassus presenting a toy theater of the Imaginarium. Mr. Nick appears, offering Dr. Parnassus a new bet, but this time, Percy convinces the doctor to get back to work. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this, and hit the like button to help us out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.